Chapter 57, Yuntai Suzerain and School of the Martial Market. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. Your Majesty, you have overestimated the ninth prince, that's why you forgot about the strategy. Otherwise, Zhou Lin, Yao Su, Zhou Yuxia, and Han King Liuo, none of them would have been set up by the ninth prince, said Lin Cheniu, who was sitting at a lower place. That same day, Lin Cheniu and Lin Ningshan were called by the queen to figure out a counterplan. Lin Cheniu was the seventh prince's servant and Lin Ningshan was his fiancée, so now the whole Lin clan and the queen were sort of in the same chariot. Their futures were bound. The queen recovered very quickly, she was a top warrior after all. She hummed coldly and said, "You think I overestimated him? You are wrong. I underestimated him. And that's why I was set up by him. It cost me 4 disciples. He's young but he's quite powerful. If we wait for him to develop further, what will happen?" Lin Cheniu said, "Actually, if we want to kill him, we don't need the seventh prince. We don't need to do it ourselves. Why not get some killers from the black market?" "Good idea." With a twinkle in her eye, the queen said, "I'll leave this with you. If you can make it happen, the whole Lin clan will benefit later on. For this kind of stuff, you should leave it to us. I am sure that I can get you his head within the shortest period of time," said Lin Cheniu obsequiously. Lin Cheniu and Lin Ningshan bowed to the queen respectfully with their knees on the ground. After that, they left the queen's chamber. The queen was from the Zeus, which was a 7th-class family. Inside her clan, there was a heaven realm who led the whole clan. And the 7th prince was a god's favored son. In their eyes, if they could work for the queen and the 7th prince, they would have a bright future. Besides that, the whole Lin clan would benefit and become a powerful family in the Yuntai Commandery. 9th Commandery Princess sighed and said, "What a shame." The one who planned to rescue the prisoner, as well as the other 2 warriors who planned to kill you, died. They all poisoned themselves. Their bodies were corroded. We couldn't identify them at all. Without a doubt, these 3 disciples had died because of Zhang Yuochen's strategies. All of them were scapegoats. They committed suicide by poisoning themselves. Their remains were exactly the same as that of Han King Liuo. I've heard that the person who went to the jail was an Earthrealm warrior who killed more than 200 Imperial guards. If it weren't for General Liu Tong and General Xiaoling, she probably would have escaped. What a shame, she died as well. We could not find the person behind her, said Yuxi. Zhang Yuochen laughed with a thoughtful look and said, "They could send an Earthrealm warrior. I am afraid that he or she is a powerful, horrible person." Zhang Yuochen doubted that the person who wanted to kill him was inside the royal palace. He went to check the recent personnel transfers in the royal palace. Unexpectedly, he found a few clues. Last night, 4 of the queen's maids had annoyed her, so she sentenced them to death. What a coincidence. Zhang Yuochen speculated that the 4 maids had not been sentenced to death by the queen. Instead, they were the 4 assassinators who poisoned themselves last night. The queen had just found a proper reason to wipe them out. However, this was just Zhang Yuochen's speculation. Without any firm evidence, he could never prove that the assassinators had been sent by the queen. The queen was powerful and was supported by a 7th-class family, the Zeus. With Zhang Yuochen's current skills, if he waged a war against the queen, it would be like using an egg to attack a stone. The queen's power is so strong that even the Yuntai Commandery prince is somewhat afraid of her. Now I must be patient. If I am not patient, I am just killing myself. Zhang Yuochen was 100% sure that the queen was the person behind the assassins, but he couldn't kill her yet. His cultivation was still too weak. Zhang Yuochen frowned deeply. If the queen intended to kill him, even though he could stay in the royal palace, his security could not be guaranteed. However, if he were to leave the palace, it would be even more dangerous. Yuxi commented when Zhang Yuochen was lost in thought. She said, "Brother, the first deadly swordsman sent back yesterday is awake now. Would you like to have a look?" "Really? Let's go," said and laughed Zhang Yuochen. He did not plan to inform 9th Commandery Princess of his speculation. The more she knew, the more danger would she encounter. Meanwhile, Leo was lying on his bed, covered by white cloths. He looked just like a mummy. Although he was awake now, his gaze was blank and unfocused. People could probably not tell the difference between Le and a dead man. "Your Highness," He hasn't moved an inch since he woke up. He hasn't even blinked. Is he coming towards the end of the dying process? Whispered the maid Yun, bowing to Zhang Yuochen. Zhang Yuochen came closer to the bed and peered at her. He shook his head slightly and said, "He's alive but his heart is dead." For a warrior, a wound of the heart is more serious than a wound of the body. Have you applied the muscles and bones regenerating ointment? Once his limbs recover, let him go. After saying these words, Zhang Yuochen left. Zhang Yuochen was planning not to think about the queen any longer. He prepared to practice further in order to reach the Black Realm as soon as possible. Once he reached the Black Realm, Yuochen would be able to practice the space domain and the mark of time. By then, his power would have advanced rapidly. At least, when the queen sent others to kill him, he was able to protect himself. In the Yunwu Commandery, Yellow Realm warriors were placed at the bottom. Black Realm warriors were considered stronger. Earth Realm warriors were considered the top masters. They could normally control any situation and were the masters of martial arts. As for Heaven Realm warriors, each one of them was a martial arts legend. It was difficult to find them, however. They represented the ultimate power of Yunwu Commandery. If a Heaven Realm warrior wanted to, he could eliminate the entire Lin clan in one night. As long as he could justify himself, even the official power of the Yunwu Commandery would let him go. Heaven Realm warriors, to some extent, had surpassed the legal system. However, if they slaughtered the innocent, they would be chased by the official power and become wanted criminals. Apart from the hidden warriors, there were only famous Heaven Realm warriors in the Yunwu Commandery. All of them were big shots. They dominated their areas. If they stomped on the ground, the whole commandery would shake. That day, Zhang Yuochen, surrounded by a troop of royal guards, went to the martial market to purchase some pills. He spent 50,000 silver coins on 23 King Energy pills. He spent another 60,000 silver coins on a dark blood pill. A dark blood pill was a top third-class pill. If a warrior took it when they planned to reach the Black Realm, the success rate could increase up to 50%. But it was too pricey. 120,000 silver coins. Even princes and princesses could not afford one. This time, the King Xuan Pavilion offered Yuochen a 50% discount. However, even with this discount, Yuochen could only afford one. Right now, every time Zhang Yuochen left the royal palace, he was escorted by a troop of 100 guards. The captain of the guards was called Zhiqian. He was the Yunwu Commandery prince's personal captain. He had reached the Earth Realm and was a top warrior in the commandery. With Zhiqian's protection, he did not encounter any risk. After a short while, he went back to the royal palace. Mansion, main palace. Your Majesty, the 9th prince is a genius of martial arts. His gift is not lower than that of the 7th prince. With the protection of General Zhiqian, his safety is guaranteed. However, there are some disadvantages, whispered an old eunuch. The commandery prince asked, "What do you mean?" The eunuch replied, "How could Neras grow up and fly high in a completely safe environment? Our royal palace is too comfortable. It will not help the 9th prince to grow up." The commandery prince nodded slightly. It makes sense. The 7th prince apprenticed to the Yuntai Suzerain and became an external student of the Suzerain when he was 14. 2 years ago, he managed to become an internal student because he was ranked first. In fact, Yuochen should have reached the completion stage of the Yellow Realm by now. I am confident that he can reach the initial stage of the Black Realm very soon. Maybe he can have a chance to apprentice at the Yuntai Suzerain this year. The basic requirement of becoming an external student of the Suzerain was reaching the Black Realm before the age of 30. Yuntai Suzerain was a 4-class Suzerain, situated in the Omen Ridge, which was a junction of the Yunwu Commandery, the Flame Dragon Commandery, and the Square Commandery. It was the largest suzerain in the 9 western prefectures. A Black Realm could only become an external student of the suzerain. Only an Earth Realm warrior could become an internal student of the suzerain. 6 of the 14 Heaven Realm warriors in the Yunwu Commandery were students of the Yuntai Suzerain. In other words, if a warrior could join the Yuntai Suzerain, it was definitely something to be proud of. The eunuch shook his head slightly. Your Majesty, I don't think it's proper. If the 9th prince joins the Yuntai Suzerain while the 7th prince is already there, it won't be a good thing. You're right. With flames in his eyes, The Commandery Prince nodded slightly and said, "The Marshall Market Bank has a school in the Omen Ridge which accepts students from the 9 western prefectures. Besides that, it accepts students from the 9 eastern prefectures, the 9 southern prefectures, and the 9 northern prefectures as well." Liu Quanshan once told me that he has strong faith in Yuochen and wanted to recommend Yuochen study at the school of the Marshall Market. The eunuch's eyes shone brightly now. He said, "If the 9th prince can achieve something in the school of the Marshall Market, maybe he could be a top manager there one day. It's going to benefit the whole commandery." The Commandery Prince laughed and said, "The requirements of the school of the Marshall Market are harsher and more difficult than those of the Yuntai Suzerain. An average warrior can't get in at all." The eunuch laughed and said, "Your Majesty, you overthink. The 9th prince is at the top of the yellow board, and he has a reference from Liu Quanshan, who's the manager of the commandery branch of the Marshall Market Bank. In my humble opinion, the success rate can be higher than 70%. Ha ha. I think it's 90%. Said the Commandery Prince. "Once he reaches the Black Realm, I will ask him whether he's interested in the school of the Marshall Market or Yuntai Suzerain."